Okay guys, I'm going to share some information today, and it's basically looking at our early wounding so that we get to integrate it and we stop disassociating and we get to the root of our problems rather than cycling out every so often our triggers, flashbacks and memories that are painful. So we have to integrate the wound, and to integrate the wound we have to understand our early complexes. So what I'm going to do is show you a couple of slides so that you can get to sort of figure out what yours may be. And also I'm going to go through Human Bill of Rights by Pete Walker, which is in Pete Walker's book, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. So this is something I wrote the other day that I want to run through, and you can stop it and read it if you want, or hear me out reading it. So the ego develops based on imprinted experiences and on how we were guided in childhood. At some point, what we value shall be based on our own preferences. But again, we have been heavily imprinted, and based on what we were told and how we were treated, we will make choices. So stopping at that point, so you probably can see this play out in your life. It's like, why do you keep having the same problem? Why do you keep having the same issue in a particular area of life? What happens is when we're imprinted very early on, it may be somebody's tone of voice, somebody's look, a particular event or events over years that have basically put us in a position where we're on autopilot and just reacting to something that's no longer a danger to us. So we have to get to the bottom of the issue in order for something to change. Complexes exist and can remain frozen in us where we're not allowed to express our own free will, or we've not been allowed to, or we've not been able to express our free will. As young children, we are not able to express our free will. This is just quite natural in us. So it's not that we have a fault. It may be where we expressed our first no, like very heavily, and went, no, I don't want that, or I want this. And in that, if we were stopped in our tracks and we weren't nurtured after that event and explained to, in a loving, nurturing way, then it can hold us back as an adult. I mean, I can definitely go back to experiences where, with regard to money or, relationships or being close to somebody, where I've been restricted at a time when I was a child, and how that's played out in my adulthood. So going on, our complexes will keep playing out. They are based on where we did not feel safe in childhood. So as adults, when we get triggered and relive unpleasant memories, we do go into the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. These modes are due to our unresolved frozen complexes, where we did not feel safe and where we were not able to exert our own free will. We must look at our complexes and thaw them out, to be it through therapy or sharing these with another human being. So you do it through a friend who's really listening to you, where you're sharing, or go have therapy. Therapy or sharing with someone we trust, where we feel safe, allows us to restore the broken, unsafe bonds. This is not about repairing past toxic relations. This is about being safe in our now. When we do this with another, we then become unfrozen and we begin to feel safe. And the fight, flight, freeze, fawn modes begin to evolve, dissolve, and drop off. So this is the ultimate goal that we're trying to reach, that we don't keep having the same reaction, that we're not just stuck in a frozen state of repeating. This is safety at its height, this beautiful animal here with the beautiful young woman, and you can see the safety there. So this would be the archetype of Cancer. It's in astrology, mother, the womb, and safety and security. So even in this, she feels safe and secure. So in a way, thawing out our issues from childhood, our complexes, we can get to a safe place in ourselves where we do feel safe, where we feel safe with our own anger, we feel safe with our own judgments and guilt, and they begin to evolve as well. So when we do this work, it has a knock-on process. It's one thing, when we work on one thing, it's working on another thing without us realizing it. A sense of self-worth is necessary for us to protect ourselves. So again, we've got to have a sense of self-worth and value. And again, that would have come from early imprints. And if we've not had that, we've got to now become our own parent. and make our lives safe for ourselves. And we might need help doing that. So don't, judge yourself if you do need to go get help in order to reach this place of being safe or in the now, because this is what we're all here to help each other. We're bridges for each other. Now, this is the Human Bill of Rights. It's Pete Walker in his book, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. And I think we've all got PTSD, to be honest, from what I'm seeing going on in society currently as well. So what we're looking at is just understanding what our rights are. You can add to this list or take away, you can do what you want with this list, but it's in the back of his book, and meaning that you can take the bits that are more meaningful to you at this time. And I'm going to read this anyway. So I have the right to be treated with respect. I have the right to say no. I have the right to make mistakes. I have the right to reject unsolicited advice or feedback. I have the right to negotiate for change. I have the right to change my mind or my plans. I have the right to change my circumstances or course of action. I have the right to have my own feelings, beliefs, opinions, and preferences. I mean, this one right now is huge, where people are being shut down and people are not choosing not to be their authentic selves because of, other people have got other views. So we're all being cut off from each other at the moment. So we can still have differences and still, be authentic in ourselves and speak our own truth as well. I have the right to protest sarcasm, destructive criticism, or unfair treatment. And I have the right to feel angry and to express it non-abusively. So non-abusively is the key word here. We have the right to feel angry. Where we've been brought up and we've been told, where we may have been mistreated, that our anger was not right. We can play that out in adulthood as well. And it can be detrimental to us because healthy anger actually gets us to move and change. It's part of the libido, not from a sexual point of view, but from the Jung, Carl Jung, his idea of what libido is. It's the psyche. It's like where we have imagination, we have feelings, we have emotion, and that will drive us. So libido is our drive, and also to do with our psychic imprints. And next, I have a right to refuse to take responsibility for anyone else's problems. I have a right to refuse to take responsibility for anyone's bad behavior. And I have a right to feel ambivalent and to occasionally be inconsistent. I have a right to play, waste time, and not be productive. And I have a right to occasionally be childish and immature. I have a right to complain about life's unfairness and injustices. We can really look at that one, but we do have that right. We do have these rights, and we have to realize that. And people sometimes will tell us that we don't have these rights, but we're all on a soul journey. So we have to play this game our way to a huge degree in order to individuate and become whole. And this is going to take integrating information that works. Next, I have a right to occasionally be irrational in safe ways. I have a right to seek healthy and mutually supportive relationships. And I have a right to ask friends for a modicum of help and emotional support. I mean, this one I really struggled with. So one of my complexes is this one here. I have a right to ask friends for a modicum of help and emotional support because I didn't experience that in childhood and it wasn't safe. I've got Chiron in my astrology in my 4th house. This is an astrology talk, but it's very meaningful because what it means is I'm hypersensitive about asking people for help, because when I did as a child, I was not treated, with grace when I asked for help. In fact, worse, but anyway, long story. I have a right to complain and verbally ventilate in moderation, and I have a right to grow, evolve, and prosper. So see here, if you go to Pete/Walker.com, Human Bill of Rights, you can get a copy of that there, or you can ask me. I've got it on PDF. And then this is the beauty of life. There's so much beauty out there. There's a lot of destruction at the moment, sadly with what's going on with fires in America, and there's a lot of trauma as well, and we're trying to integrate and heal, and then we've got all of this trauma that's kicking off around us. So we do have to be gentle with ourselves at this time and look after our health and well-being, our psychology, our own psyche, and the body. These are the 2 main things. And, do reach out and ask people for help with that as well if you're struggling with those things. Don't just sit in silence. Okay, so that's it. One more, I think. My mission, should I choose to accept it, is to find peace with exactly who and what I am, to take pride in my thoughts, my appearance, my talents, my flaws, and to stop this incessant worrying that I can't be loved as I am. And that's Annie Nin, and beautiful. I don't know if I've pronounced that name right. I do have a book of hers that I'm halfway through, which I will finish at some point. And then this, you know, the beauty again of the, you know, the differences in humanity, in nature. You know, you see this bird and this beautiful bull type, you know, here is just, it's stunning. The world is stunning, and we can, you know, evolve the worst of the worst, but we do have to work on it. Hope this makes sense. If you want any help or an astrology reading with me, then just book me on my booking page, which I'll put the link below here. Catch you later.